Twabu. Trina, hey girl, hey, I can see y'all today. I don't know what was going on yesterday. It looked like nobody was here. But Twabu, I don't know, maybe Facebook was going through some kind of glitch or something. But it showed that this was completely vacant of souls yesterday. Like nobody came in and said hi, nothing. It wasn't until after I actually was adding the rest of the details to the daily video. Some of y'all know because I, sent y'all a text. It wasn't until after I was uploading some more of the details from the video, like in my description, that I saw that 15 people was present. I'm like, what? And so I'm like, wait, like I ain't see comments or nothing. You know how like I see y'all come in, at least the ones probably on their cell phone. I don't think I can see the people coming in on a computer unless they actually make a comment or something, right? But it had showed that 15 people was in here, but I saw no comments. Like I didn't even realize y'all was having a conversation. Like I said, and I went back, I saw the views, and then I saw the comments. I'm like, they was even talking. That's why I didn't say anything to y'all yesterday. I'm sorry. I figured, everybody must have a very busy morning today. But it was because I couldn't see anybody there. So, but nevertheless, I'm still doing what I do. I'm still standing my post. Whether if anybody show up or not, I figured if nobody ever shows up, there was a commitment when that I made to y'all when he first told me to start doing it, right? I said, Father, if nobody, because I wasn't going to do these lives. I was going to pre-record them, and I was just going to upload them. But the first day I did it 3 years ago, it was pre-recorded, but it was like, I said, do it live. So I'm like, okay. So from that point, from day 2 of year 1, they have been live, so everything y'all caught, children in the background, all that stuff, y'all see everything in the background. I don't hide nothing from y'all. At least I try not to. Anything that happens, y'all hear. My life is an open book, and I'm very transparent about stuff. You got a question? Ask me. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you. I don't know. Okay, y'all. So, but I'm glad everybody here today. Peace and blessings. Aliyah. Okay, y'all. I was wondering what. Yeah, Trina, like I wasn't ignoring y'all. Like it said 0 people are here on Facebook. So if that ever happens, if y'all saying something and I'm not saying anything to y'all, I'll probably pay attention if I don't see anything there. I'll be like, hey, if somebody leave a comment. Well, I couldn't see the comments, so I don't even know. So I guess I won't be able to see them until after the video was done. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe Facebook was doing some updates or something. I don't know, but I just assumed everybody was super busy yesterday and couldn't join in, but apparently not. Y'all were there. I just couldn't see you there. I don't know, but I kept on moving like y'all was there. Like I said, I'm going to stay in my post regardless if anybody comes and whoever goes. All right, y'all. So today we are going, after we read the books of Enoch, we're going to go back all the way to the beginning of this book, and we're going to read what happened during the chaos before the world was formed. At first, I was like, yeah, let me not read that just yet, but today I figure I need to read it today, okay? All right, so today, happy Friday. It's Friday, December the 11th, 2020, day 21 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 690, guys. We're almost at 700 days. We're almost at 700 days. Like some days I'm like, Father, thank you. Thank you for the determination you put inside of me, and for me keeping my word to you. So I promise you, I don't think anybody could keep this up unless y'all was with him. Not saying all that, but I'm just saying, I think y'all that he wakes me up and he be on me. Let's go. Come on. You got to get to bed early. You got to stay in your post. I'm like, okay. Because some mornings, I ain't gonna lie. Like, well, I'm like fully in habit now, year 3, but like the first couple months, oh my gosh. Although you probably couldn't see it in my face, I'm like, man, but I'm used to getting up early anyway, but it's like developing this, like it makes me really consider my whole life and being disciplined. I'm like, if I'm this disciplined in this, surely I can be this disciplined in other areas of my life, So even my oldest son, he come in, he said, Mom, I don't know how you do it. This has been 3 years. My 17-year-old, he said, your discipline excites me. And some mornings you may hear him in the background, sometimes he's just quiet. Sometimes, one time he told me, he said, you know what? I'm gonna come down there with you every morning. That was the middle of year one. I'm like, son, where you at? Oh, Jeremiah, where art thou? So he's like, no, I'm sorry. I was up playing the game. I was like, yeah, you better put that game away, boy. So I was like, give Yah praise when you first open your eyes in the morning. So, but okay, y'all. Let's go ahead. Today we are going to be reading Enoch 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Y'all be like, oh my gosh, but remember, these chapters in Enoch are really short. It's going to take us about 10 minutes to read it, like seriously. And then we're going to hop right over into the legends of the Jews, which really it really is the Bible itself. It really is. Like I said, some stuff reads word for word, and some of the stuff that I was reading there yesterday, I was like, wait a minute, am I in Jasher? Because it reads just like some of the chapters in Jasher. Yeah, it's amazing how our actions inspire them more than our talks. You got that right, Alicia. Let me tell you. Yeah, you're not the only one watching, Alicia. It's showing me a few more people in here. But yeah, that's something true. Like we could talk to our children till we blue in the face, but it's not what we say that's going to get their attention. It's what they see modeled before them, and what they see modeled before them. That's the way that they're going to be bent in life. They're going to be. If you get up and your children see you praising Yah, seeking Him daily, they're going to be bent in that direction because that's their experience. That's what they see. They're going to reproduce what they see. So my uncle told me that when I first joined the military and I got stationed back here, and it really stuck with me because I thought that was one of his favorite words. He said, whatever you do, your children are going to be bent in that direction, Pam. So you have to be mindful, not just what you say, but what you do. Sometimes we have the best intentions by teaching our children with our mouths what is right, but sometimes we find it hard to keep some of those things ourselves, especially if we develop bad habits like smoking or something like that. Not that I smoke, I don't smoke, but just an example. You can tell them don't smoke, it's bad for your lungs, but if your children see you doing it, and you're somebody that they trust and love, they were like, well, your lungs can't be that bad because you're still doing it. And that's what they surmised from that. Okay, it can't be too bad because you're doing it. If it was really bad, you wouldn't be destroying your body. So it's by our actions. Once we're conscious of that, and sometimes it's hard. It's hard to break bad habits. It really is. And some bad habits that we've developed is going to take more than our own personal strength. It's going to take literally sometime, depending on what habit you have, it's going to take the intervention of heaven itself. And some things who is going to have to provide people around you and support groups to help hold you accountable to your own self, to help you break some of those things. You have to change your environment, what you put in yourself, not just in your mouth, but your eyes and your ears. You literally have to change your world around you in order to stay on a path that will keep you with your life as long as possible. Like where you keep your life as long as possible and you don't put out your light prematurely, right? Okay. All right, y'all. So Enoch chapter 17. All right, they raised me up to a certain place where they, the angels, were like the appearance of a burning fire. And when they pleased, they assumed the likeness of men. They carried me to a lofty spot, to a mountain, the top of which reaches to heaven. Like I said, angels, which we know, they can change their appearance. While they're in heaven, they're like fire. But when they come down here, they can change their appearance to whatever it is they need it to be for that moment. They could change it to the form of man, i.e., be careful of those strangers you entertain because you truly could be entertaining an angel. They can take on the form of likeness of fire or wind or whatever. Just think about Moses and a burning bush, all those different things. It was the angel of Yah, but he saw fire. Yep, and others too. I used to watch you read, stand by your rock all the time, even though I was a wild one. Yeah, like right, Trina. All the military days. What else is I gonna do out to sea? I'm like, oh yeah, can't hang out with this one, can't hang out with that one. I'm like, y'all, it's just me and you. I was already an introvert, but me joining the military, I joined the military because I'm like, man, I already got a son that had a child out of wedlock. I was like, Father, I got to do something to provide for him. My husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, but he my husband now, he was in college and stuff. So I was like, oh, we got to do something, you know. So I joined the military. I was like, they're going to help me keep myself on track. But yeah, when I was there, like, I'm like, Father, who else do I have in this earth besides you at this point? Out to sea, can't go nowhere, So I'm like, Father, if I wasn't at work, not down on the mess decks or whatever, I didn't go to chapel, I was by my rack or in my rack reading dream. We had many conversations those days. I forgot you was right across from me too. Those were the days. Okay. All right, y'all. And I beheld the receptacles of light and of thunder at the extremities of the place where it was the deepest. There were a bow of fire and arrows in a quiver, a sword of fire and every species of lightning. Then they elevated me to the babbling stream and to a fire in the west, which received all the setting of the sun. I came to a river of fire which flowed like water and emptied itself into the great sea westwards. I saw every large river until I arrived at the great darkness. I went to where all the flesh migrate, and I beheld the mountains of the gloom, which constitutes winter, and the place from which issues the water in every abyss. I saw also the mouths of all rivers in the world, and the mouths of the deep. Enoch chapter 18. Then I surveyed the receptacles of all the winds, perceiving that they contribute to adorn the whole creation and to guard the foundation of the earth. I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth. I also beheld the four winds which bear up the earth and the expanse of heaven. Salutations, salutations. And I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky, arising in the midst of heaven and earth, and constituting the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds which turn the sky, which cause the orb of the sun and all the stars to set. And over the earth I saw the winds which supported the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I perceived at the extremity of the earth and the expanse of heaven above it. Then I passed on towards the south, where burnt both by day and night 6 mountains formed of glorious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. Those which were towards the east were of a variegated stone, one of which was margarite and the other antimony. I think that's right. Yeah, antimony. Those toward the south were of a red stone. The middle one reached to heaven like the throne of Yahuwah, a throne composed of alabaster, the top of which was of sapphire. I saw too a blazing fire hanging over all the mountains, and there I saw a place on the other side of an extended territory where waters were collected. I likewise beheld terrestrial fountains deep in the fiery columns of heaven. And in the columns of heaven I beheld fires which descended without number, but neither on high nor in the deep. Over these fountains also I perceived a place which had neither the expanse of heaven above it, nor the solid ground underneath it, neither was there water above it, nor anything on wing, but the spot was desolate. And there I beheld 7 stars like great blazing mountains, and like spirits entreating me. Then the angel said, this place, until the consummation of heaven and earth, will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven. The stars which roll over fire are those which transgress the commandment of Yahuwah before their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore he was offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. Oh my gosh, I just got why I got to read the first part of what we're going to read today. This right here. I'm like, Father, I don't know. I just saw right here. Listen, I'm going to read this again. And then once we jump over here, and when I read this first part of what happened during the chaos before Yahuwah brought the world into existence, it's going to make complete sense. Oh, he is so good. He is so good. Listen, I'm going to read this again. I'm not going to give you any deeper detail. I'm going to just read it again, but just remember this. Okay? All right. Listen. Whew. Then the angel said, this place, until the consummation of heaven and earth, will be the prison of the stars and the hosts of heaven. The stars which roll over fire are those which transgress the commandment of Yahuwah before their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore he was offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. Okay. Enoch chapter 19. Then Uriel said, who hear the angels who cohabited with women, appointed their leaders, and assuming many forms, made men profane and caused them to err, so that they sacrifice to devils as to gods. For in the great day of judgment with which they shall be judged until they are consumed, and their women also shall be judged, who led astray the angels of heaven, that they might salute them. And I, Enoch, alone saw the likeness of the end of all things, nor did any man see it as I saw it. Enoch chapter 20. Okay, yeah, these are really short. These are the names of the angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels who was over clamor and terror. Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who inflicts punishment on the world and the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels who is over mankind virtue, commands the Michael, one of the holy angels who is over mankind virtue, commands the nations. Sarakiel, one of the holy angels who is over the spirits of the children of men that transgress. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is over the serpents, over paradise, and over the cherubim. Last chapter in Enoch for the day, Enoch chapter 21 in the 6 verses. Then I made a circuit to the place in which nothing was completed, and there I beheld neither the tremendous workmanship of an exalted heaven, nor of an established earth, but a desolate spot, prepared and terrific. There too I beheld 7 stars of the heaven, bound in it together, like great mountains and like a blazing fire. I exclaimed, for what species of crime have they been bound, and why have they been removed to this place? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, and who conducted me, answered, Enoch, wherefore do you ask? Wherefore do you reason with yourself and anxiously inquire? These are those of the stars which have transgressed the commandment of El Elyon, and are here bound until the infinite number of days of their crimes be completed. For from there I afterwards passed on to another terrific place, where I beheld the operation of a great fire blazing and glittering, in the midst of which there was a division. Columns of fire struggled together to the end of the abyss, and deep was their descent. But neither its measurement nor magnitude was I able to discover, neither could I perceive its origin. Then I exclaimed, how terrible is this place, and how difficult to explore. Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, Enoch, why are you alarmed and amazed at this terrific place, at the sight of this suffering? This, he said, is the prison of the angels, and here they are kept forever. Okay. All right, y'all. So, right there. That was Enoch, chapter 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and head over here. I'm not going to give y'all an intro of what this is again today. If you're here for the first time, just watch the last few videos as I give a quick overview of the book we're reading from. All right, y'all. I'll show it again, The Legends of the Jews. It really is another Bible. I mean, not another, but it is Bible. It's just the portions, some of the portions that were not canonized with some of the other stuff that was canonized in the 66 books. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me do this. It's right here. Okay, y'all. Chapter 1, the creation of the world. Okay. Remember when I said, now understand why I got to read this part today? Okay. Where it talked about the stars that transgressed Yahuwah's command because they did not do what they were supposed to do when he called them forth. This is going to explain a little bit about that and how he was angry with them, right? What it even tells you in Enoch that he was angry with them for not coming forth. All right. In the beginning, 2,000 years before the heaven and the earth. In the beginning, 2,000 years before the heaven and the earth, 7 things were created. The Torah, written with black fire on white fire, and laying in the lap of Yahuwah, the divine throne erected in heaven, which is later over the heads of the Hayat. 3, paradise on the right side of Yahuwah. 4, hell on the left side. 5, the celestial sanctuary directly in front of Yahuwah, having a jewel on its altar graven with the name of the Messiah. And hold on. I skipped. That was 6. And 7, it doesn't call out the numbers numbered it and called it out for y'all so y'all can count. And a voice that cries aloud, return, ye children of men. When Yahuwah resolved upon the creation of the world, he took counsel with the Torah. Her advice was this: O Yahuwah, a king without an army and without courtiers and attendants hardly deserves the name of a king, for none is nigh to express the homage due to him. The answer pleased Yahuwah exceedingly. Thus did he teach all earthly kings by his divine example to undertake naught without first consulting advisors. And thus did he teach all earthly kings by his divine example to undertake naught without first consulting advisors. So you know how I forget exactly where, but you know how it tells you that a king shouldn't go to war without first getting consultation from like his advisors. A king should never go to war without consultation, right? Don't just decide on your own, but you need to get the wisdom of all the other people surrounding you to see, is this a good thing, you know? And if you're Yahuwah's people, you should consult him first. Shall we go up? Okay. The advice of the Torah was given with some reservations. She was skeptical about the value of an earthly world on the account of the sinfulness of men who would be sure to disregard her precepts. But Yahuwah dispelled her doubts. He told her that repentance had been created long before, and sinners would have the opportunity of mending their ways. Besides, the temple service would be invested with atoning power, and paradise and hell were intended to do duty as reward and punishment. Finally, the Messiah was appointed to bring salvation, which will put an end to all sinfulness. Nor is this world inhabited by man, the first of all things earthly created by Yahuwah. Listen to this, y'all. He made, and I've heard this, you know how you hear different people from different let's say religious sects or whatever, they come and they talk to you about different things that you don't necessarily hear about in the church. And even you see it in movies how they were like many different worlds created, or you hear this name being thrown around. Oh, Eve wasn't the first wife, Lilith was the first wife. I'm like, what are you talking about? You better get out of here with that garbage. Who is a Lilith? Okay. Nor is this world inhabited by man, the first of things earthly created by Yahuwah. He made several worlds before ours, but he destroyed them all because he was pleased with none until he created ours. But even this last world would have had no permanence. Mommy, yes, baby girl. Let me get some M&Ms. Wait till I'm done. But even this last world would have had no permanence if Yahuwah had executed his original plan of ruling it according to the principle of strict justice. It was only when he saw that justice by itself would undermine the world that he associated mercy with justice and made them to rule jointly. Thus, from the beginning of all things prevailed divine goodness, without which nothing could have continued to exist. If not for it, the myriads of evil spirits had soon put an end to the generations of men. But the goodness of Yahuwah has ordained that in every Nisan, at the time of the spring equinox, the seraphim shall approach the world of spirits and intimidate them so that they fear to do harm to men. Again, if Yahuwah in his goodness had not given protection to the weak, the tame animals would have been extirpated long ago by the wild animals. In Tammuz, okay, so I know when I'm reading this, is given like the names of like Jewish months. But remember, the gentleman who translated this, he's Jewish, and based on the months he understands, that's the names of the months he's using. But remember, Yahuwah never gave names to month; he only gave numbers. So I just want to make sure you're tracking with me, not getting caught up on some of the words. Okay. In Tammuz, at the time of the summer solstice, when the strength of Behemoth is at its height, he roars so loud that all the animals hear it, and for a whole year they are affrighted and timid, and their acts become less ferocious than their nature is. Again, in Tishri, at the time of the autumn equinox, the great bird Ziz flaps his wings and utters his cry, so that the birds of prey, the eagles and the vultures, blanch, and they fear to swoop down upon the other animals and annihilate them in their greed. And again, were it not for the goodness of Yahuwah, the vast number of big fish had quickly put an end to the little ones. But at the time of the winter solstice, in the month of Tebet, the sea grows restless, for then Leviathan spouts up water and the big fish become uneasy. Guys, we're going to read about Leviathan. I know we see the name Leviathan and Behemoth in the Bible, but it only gives like a quick blurb about them. But in Job, when Yahuwah asked Job, he said, "Were you there when I created Leviathan?" And he gives a couple details about Leviathan. Well, this gives us a whole lot of details about Leviathan, Behemoth, and the Ziz, and their purpose for being created. Right? They restrain their appetite, and the little ones escape their rapacity. Finally, the goodness of Yahuwah expresses itself. Finally, the goodness of Yahuwah manifests itself in the preservation of his people Israel. It could not have survived the enmity of the Gentiles if Yahuwah had not appointed protectors for it, the archangels Michael and Gabriel. Whenever Israel disobeys Yahuwah and is accused of misdemeanors by the angels of the other nations, remember I mentioned yesterday, I said each nation of people has a specific angel that Yahuwah has set over that nation. Some nations know that, and I'm just realizing that as I'm reading this, I'm like, oh yeah. As I'm thinking about some things that I've learned and seen over the years, right? We'll get more into that. Whenever Israel disobeys Yahuwah and is accused of misdemeanors by the angels of the other nations, he is defended by his designated guardians with such good result that the other angels conceive fear of them. Once the angels of the other nations are terrified, the nations themselves venture not to carry out their wicked designs against Israel. That the goodness of Yahuwah may rule on earth as in heaven, the angels of destruction are assigned a place at the far end of the heavens from which they may never stir, while the angels of mercy encircle the throne of Yahuwah at his behest. Okay, y'all, so we're going to jump over here to the second day. Remember, the first day, we actually read the first day, and it gave us the details about how this earth was created and how we live on the seventh earth, and it describes all the earths beneath us and how they're separated by the tohu and the bohu and an abyss and waters and seas, right? Each layer of the earth are separated by the same things, right? Okay, so we read that. Now let's go to the second day. On the second day, Yahuwah brought forth 4 creations: the firmament, hail, fire, and the angels. The firmament is not the same as the heavens of the first day. It is the crystal stretched forth over the heads of the Hayat, from which the heavens derive their light, as the earth derives its light from the sun. The firmament saves the earth from being engulfed by the waters of the heavens. Remember how we said that there is water above us, above the sky that we can see is waters. It's called the waters above, and it's separated from the waters down here in our oceans and seas from the waters below. Okay. The firmament saves the earth from being engulfed by the waters of the heavens. It forms the partition between the waters above and the waters below. It was made to crystallize into the solid it is by the heavenly fire, which broke its bounds and condensed the surface of the firmament. Thus, fire made a division between the celestial and terrestrial at the time of creation, as did the revelation at Mount Sinai. The firmament is not more than 3 fingers thick. Nevertheless, it divides two such heavy bodies as the waters below, which are the foundations for the nether world, and the waters above, which are the foundations for the 7 heavens, the divine throne, and the abode of the angels. The separation of the waters into the upper and lower waters was the only act of sort done by Yahuwah in connection with the work of creation. All other acts were unifying. It therefore caused some difficulties. When Yahuwah commanded, let the waters be gathered together unto one place and let the dry land appear. And here's what we get into where I said, okay, I understand. Hey, turn it down. Well, I understand why we're reading this today, because it lines up with what we read in Enoch, where Yahuwah was wroth with some of the angels who didn't do exactly what he said do in the beginning as he was creating, right? Listen. It therefore caused some difficulties. When Yahuwah commanded, let the waters be gathered together unto one place and let the dry land appear, certain parts refused to obey. They embraced each other all the more closely. In his wrath at the waters, Yahuwah determined to let the whole of creation resolve itself into chaos again. He summoned the angel of the face and ordered him to destroy the world. The angel opened his eyes wide, and scorching fires and thick clouds rolled forth from them while he cried out, He who divides the Red Sea in asunder, and the rebellious waters stood, and all, however, was still in danger of destruction. Then began the singer of Yahuwah's praises. O Yahuwah, God of the world, in the days to come, thy creatures will sing praise without end to thee. They will bless thee boundlessly, and they will glorify thee without measure. Thou wilt set Abraham apart from all mankind as thy own. One of his sons thou wilt call my firstborn, and his descendants will take the yoke of thy kingdom upon themselves. In holiness and purity thou wilt bestow thy Torah upon them with the words, I am the Lord your God. Whereunto they will make answer, all that Yahuwah hath spoken we will do. And now I beseech thee, Yahuwah, have pity upon thy world, destroy it not. For if thou destroyest it, who will fulfill thy will? Yahuwah was pacified. He withdrew the command ordaining the destruction of the world, but the waters he put under the mountains to remain there forever. The objection to the lower waters to division and separation was not their only reason for rebelling. The water had been the first to give praise to Yahuwah, and when their separation into upper and lower was decreed, the waters above rejoiced, saying, Blessed are we who are privileged to abide near our Creator and near his holy throne. Jubilating thus, they flew upward and uttered a song and praise to the Creator of the world. Sadness fell upon the waters below. They lamented, Woe unto us! We have not been found worthy to dwell in the presence of Yahuwah and praise him together with our companions. Therefore, they attempted to rise upward until Yahuwah repulsed them and pressed them under the earth. Yet they were not left unrewarded for their loyalty. Whenever the waters above desire to give praise to Yahuwah, they must first seek permission from the waters below. The second day of creation was an untoward day, and more than that one respect of it was introduced a breach, where before there had been nothing but unity. For it was the day that also saw the creation of hell. Therefore, Yahuwah could not say of this day as of the others that he saw that it was good. A division may be necessary, but it cannot be called good, and hell surely does not deserve the attribute of good. Hell has 7 divisions, one beneath the other. They are called Sheol, Abaddon, Bir Shahat, Tit Ha Yawin, Sha'ari Mawet, Sha'ari Zalmawet, and Gehenna. Now, we've heard 3 of these names. We've heard Sheol, Abaddon, and Gehenna. They've conveniently left out the other names, right? Okay. It requires 300 years to traverse the height or the width or the depth of each division, and it would take 6,300 years to go over a tract of land equal in extent to the 7 divisions. Each of the divisions in turn has 7 subdivisions, and in each compartment there are 7 rivers of fire and 7 of hail. And as we go on in the days, we're going to actually see the book of Enoch gives more detail into this place that it's talking about. The width of each one is 7,000 ells, its depth 1,000, and its length 300. And they flow one from the other, and they are supervised by 90,000 angels of destruction. There are, besides, in every compartment 7,000 caves. In every cave there are 7,000 crevices, and in every crevice 7,000 scorpions. I'm like, it's a whole lot of people that this place has had to make room for. I'm like, oh my goodness. Every scorpion has 300 rings, and in every ring 7,000 pouches of venom. I'm like, oh, this is never going to stop. I don't plan on going to this place, so hey. Every scorpion has 300 rings, and in every ring 7,000 pouches of venom, from which flow 7 rivers of deadly poison. If a man handles it, he immediately bursts. Every limb is torn from his body. His bowels are cleft asunder, and he falls upon his face. There are also 5 different kinds of fires in hell. One devours and absorbs, another devours and does not absorb, while the third absorbs and does not devour. And there is still another fire which neither devours nor absorbs, and furthermore a fire which devours. And as I was reading this, I started thinking about some of the things that I've read about. Remember this lady? I think her name is Mary Baxter, Mary Ann or Mary K. Baxter, or something like that. But anyway, her book was called Divine Revelations of Hell. So as I was reading this, and when I read about this in the book of Enoch, now mind you, I read her book before I ever knew that there was a book of Enoch in my early age. And I'm like, and it scared the crap out of me, right? So I'm like, oh, she has a really vivid imagination. I'm like, is this stuff true? I don't know. Maybe it was just a dream. I know this from somewhere as a child. Okay, Nikki, like some of the stuff like we've heard, right? And then you think about the different people that have dreams about hell and stuff. I was like, I cannot deny, neither can I verify what they're dreaming is the truth, because I've never had the experience of dreaming about hell, neither as vivid as they have, and neither have I been there. I can't really tell you if it exists or not. I was like, but these people, they come out of their dreams and their visions traumatized, and you can see some of the trauma in their bodies and stuff. And like, I'm like, I don't know, but it makes me think. I don't discount it, because who am I to say? I mean, I'm not going to speak against something that I don't know about, that I'm ignorant about. I said, but clearly these people believe something, so I don't speak against it. I just kind of take it in. And I'll set it here and I'll observe and I'll keep going about life, Yes, ma'am.
You done your story?
I'm almost done with my reading pool. Am I done with my story? Okay, listen. Can you hop down, Tootie? You want to watch too? Okay, how about you sit? Let's push this over here. And you sit right here and you can watch.
Mom, and I will.
Okay, I'll get you some in a second. Okay, you sit right there in the background. Singing in the background. Okay.
Mom, get some M&Ms.
I didn't give her any M&Ms.
Well, how come she got some?
Oh, who opened them?
Not me. Not me.
Who opened them?
Not me.
Oh, now not me open them. Nobody opened them. If nobody opened them, how could you get some? Did you eat some?
I didn't, and I want some.
Did Dad take the bag?
No, Dad said put it back.
Dad said put it back. Okay. Then I don't. Let me smell your breath. I don't think she ate none. I don't smell chocolate on her mouth. I don't think she ate none. Okay. Because she would have came down here with a few in her hand if she had some. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. But some of those things, I'm just like, she said their stories too funny. Yes, my kids is comedy all day. Yeah, so but that's what, as I was reading this, I started thinking about all of those people's dreams that I heard about, that they visited hell and stuff. And I know it's something to it, because I've had personal experiences with otherworldly entities, right? Some good, some bad to scare the piss out of me, so I know it's something to it, although I haven't experienced it to the depths of which some people have, even to the point where when I was younger, I dreamt about demons trying to surround me and attack me. And as a child, I wasn't like scared or anything, but I was pinching them, like, get out of here, get away from me. I was pinching them. And they was like little tiny demons too. But when I woke up, I could smell like the burning sulfur on my hands. Like, I'll never forget that. As long as I live, I'll never forget that. I can still smell what I smelled when I had that experience, and quite other few experiences. So I know clearly there's something to this, So as I read through some of this stuff, I'm like, okay, maybe this stuff is true, based on my personal experiences, and I'm not quick to call people liars when they tell me about experiences like this, All right. Okay. There are coals big as mountains. Hold on. Let me back to this last sentence. Okay. There are also 5 different kinds of fire in hell. One devours and absorbs. Another devours and does not absorb, while the third absorbs and does not devour. And there is still another fire which neither devours nor absorbs, and furthermore a fire which devours fire. There are coals big as mountains, and coals as big as hills, and coals as large as the Dead Sea, and coals like huge stones. And there are rivers of pitch and sulfur flowing and seething like live coals. The third creation of the second day was the angel host, both the ministering angels and the angels of praise. The reason they had not been called into being on the first day, lest men believed that the angels assisted Yahuwah in the creation of the heavens and the earth. The angels that are fashioned from fire have forms of fire, but only so long as they remain in heaven. When they descend to earth, they do the bidding of Yahuwah here below. Either they are changed into wind or they assume the guise of men. There are 10 ranks or degrees among the angels. The most exalted in rank are those surrounding the divine throne on all sides, to the right, to the left, in front, and behind, under the leadership of the archangels Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. All the celestial beings praise Yahuwah with the words, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts." But men, listen to this, y'all. But men take precedence of the angels therein. They may not begin their song of praise until the earthly beings have brought their homage to Yahuwah. Especially Israel is preferred to the angels. When they encircled the divine throne in a form of fiery mountains and flaming hills and attempted to raise their voices in adoration to the Creator, Yahuwah silences them with the words, "Keep quiet until I have heard the songs, praises, prayers, and sweet melodies of Israel." Accordingly, the ministering angels and all other celestial hosts wait until the last tones of Israel's doxologies. I think I said that wrong. Doxologies, Doxologie. You hear that like in that word in like Catholic. Doxologies. I probably screwed that up, y'all, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Israel's doxologies, their songs rising aloft from the earth, have died away. Hold on, let me read that again. Accordingly, the ministering angels and all the other celestial hosts wait until the last tones of Israel's songs rising aloft from the earth have died away, and then they proclaim in a loud voice, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts." When the hour for glorification of Yahuwah by the angels draws nigh, the August divine herald, the angel Shamiel, steps to the windows of the lowest heaven to hearken to the songs, prayers, and praises that ascend from the synagogues and the houses of learning. And when they are finished, he announces the end to the angels in all the heavens. The ministering angels, those who come in contact with the sublunary world, now repair to their chambers to take their purification bath. They dive into a stream of fire and flame 7 times, 365 times, They examine themselves carefully to make sure that no taint clings to their bodies. Only then they feel privileged to mount the fiery ladder and join the angels of the seventh heaven and surround the throne of Yahuwah with Hashmal and all the holy Hayat, adorned with the millions of fiery crowns, arrayed in fiery garments, all the angels in unison, in the same words and with the same melody, intones songs of praise to Yahuwah. Okay, y'all. Now we're about to read the third day, and that'll be all for today. Oh yeah, we have 45 here. Okay, the third day. Up to this time, the earth was a plain and wholly covered with water. Scarcely had the words of Yahuwah, let the waters be gathered together, made themselves heard, when the mountains appeared all over and hills, and the water collected in the deep lying basins. But the water was recalcitrant and resisted the order to occupy the lowly spots and threatened to overflow the earth until Yahuwah forced it back into the sea and encircled the sea with sand. Now, whenever the water is tempted to transgress its bounds, it beholds the sand and recoils. The water did but imitate their chief, Rahab, the angel of the sea, who rebelled at the creation of the world. Yahuwah had commanded Rahab to take in the water, but he refused, saying, I have enough. The punishment for his disobedience was death. His body rests in the depths of the sea, the water dispelling the foul odor that emanates from it. The main creation of the third day was the realm of plants, the terrestrial plants as well as the plants of paradise. First of all, the cedars of Lebanon and the other great trees were made. I'm sorry. First of all the cedars. Hold on, I'm reading it too fast. Hold on. I read it too fast. It didn't make sense to me. First of all, the cedars of Lebanon and the other great trees were made. In their pride at having been put first, they shot up high in the air. They considered themselves favored among plants. Then Yahuwah spake, I hate arrogance and pride, for I alone am exalted and none besides. And he created the iron on the same day, the substance with which trees are felled down. The trees began to weep, and when Yahuwah asked the reason of their tears, they said, we cried because thou hast created the iron to uproot us therewith. All the while we had thought ourselves the highest of the earth, and now the iron, our destroyer, has been called into existence. Yahuwah replied, you yourselves will furnish the axe with a handle. Without your assistance, the iron will not be able to do aught against you. The command to bear seed after their kind was given to the trees alone, but the various sorts of grass reasoned that if Yahuwah had not desired divisions according to classes, he would not have instructed the trees to bear fruit after their kind with the seed of it there in it, especially as trees are inclined of their own accord to divide themselves into species. The grasses therefore reproduce themselves also after their kinds. This prompted the exclamation of the Prince of the world, let the glory of Yahuwah endure forever. Let Yahuwah rejoice in his works. Y'all turn it down. The most important work done on the third day was the creation of paradise. 2 gates of carbuncle form the entrance to paradise, and 60 myriads of ministering angels keep watch over them. Each of these angels shines with the luster of heaven. Sorry, this keeps opening up and it makes a screen so I can't see it. Uh-oh. I just want to make sure YouTube is still here. Okay. Shalom, shalom, mother. After my experiences, it will tire me out. I go to sleep for hours all day, wake up with a metallic taste in my mouth for at least 2 to 3 days. I've heard people say that you're talking about the experiences like the dreams of like hell and stuff of otherworldly experiences. I've heard a lot of people talk about that metallic taste in their mouth. Get out of here.
I just get some.
You just not going to get some. Go on in there a little bit.
ice cream.
No, see, because that wasn't even yours. That's Jeremiah's.
I just tasted.
Yep. Jeremiah gonna know when he come down here too. When the just man's okay. Each of these angels shines with luster. Remember, we're talking about paradise and how it was created. Each of these angels shines with the luster of the heavens. When the just man appears before the gates, the clothes in which he was buried are taken off of him, and the angels array him in 7 garments of clouds of glory, and place upon his head 2 crowns, one of precious stones and pearls, the other of gold of Parvaim, and they put 8 myrtles in his hand, and they utter praises before him and say to him, Go thy way and eat thy bread with joy. And they lead him to a place full of rivers. Little girl, y'all both stop. Get down.
Sticking your
Girl,
tongue
get down. Quit sticking your tongue out. Distracting people. Sit down. Sorry, y'all. Chill. Wait a minute. We'll talk in a second. They utter praises before him and say, I'm going to send you upstairs with Dad.
Mommy.
Yes.
M&M's.
Okay, you get some M&M's. Back up.
You know.
Yeah, I'm not right now. You keep on. You won't get any today. Go thy way and eat thy bread with joy. And they lead him to a place full of rivers, surrounded by 800 kinds of roses and myrtles. Each one has a canopy according to his merits, and under it flow 4 rivers, one of milk, the other one of...
I love squirrels and rabbits. I love rabbits.
Okay, I know you love the animals, baby. The other of balsam, the third of wine, the fourth of honey. Every canopy is overgrown by a vine of gold, and 30 pearls hang from it, each of them shining like Venus. Under the canopy there is a table of precious stones and pearls, and 60 angels stand at the head of every just man, saying unto him, Go and eat with joy and honey, for thou hast busied thyself with the Torah. Hold on. Hey, babe! Babe! Get down. You're doing the most. Go upstairs with Dad. Go. Give me 1 second, y'all. No, you're not. Go. You stop or you going to. Going with milk and honey. Yes. Okay. They be doing the most. Sometimes they're okay, but then they get loud. Okay. Every canopy is overgrown by a vine of gold, and 30 pearls hang from it, each of them shining like Venus. Under each canopy there is a table of precious stones and pearls, and 60 angels stand at the head of every just man, saying, Go and eat with joy of the honey, for thou hast busied thyself with the Torah, and she is sweeter than honey, and the drink of wine preserved in the grapes, since the 6 days of creation. For thou hast busied thyself. Hold on. I go right back up. Hold on. No, I didn't. Okay. And drink of the wine preserved in the grape, since the 6 days of creation. For thou hast busied thyself with Torah, and she is compared to wine. The least fair of the just is beautiful as Joseph, and Rabbi Johanan, and as the grains of silver, pomegranate upon which falls the ray of the sun. There is no light, for the light of the righteous is the shining light. And they undergo 4 transformations every day, passing through 4 states. In the first, the righteous is changed into a child. He enters the division for children and tastes the joys of childhood. Then he is changed into a youth and enters the division for the youths, with whom he enjoys the delights of youth. Next, he becomes an adult in the prime of life, and he enters the division of men and enjoys the pleasures of manhood. Finally, he is changed into an old man. He enters the division for the old and enjoys the pleasures of age. There are 80 myriads of trees in every corner of paradise, the meanest among them choicer than all the spice trees. In every corner, there are 60 myriads of angels singing with sweet voices, and the tree of life stands in the middle and shades the whole of paradise. It has 15,000 tastes, each different from the other, and the perfumes thereof vary likewise. Over it hang 7 clouds of glory, and winds blow upon it from all 4 sides, that its odor is wafted from one end of the world to the other. Underneath sit the scholars and explain the Torah. Over each of them, 2 canopies are spread, one of stars, the other of sun and moon, and a curtain of clouds of glory separates the one canopy from the other. Beyond paradise begins Eden, containing 310 worlds and 7 compartments for 7 different classes of the pious. In the first are the martyr victims of the government, like Rabbi Akiba and his colleagues. In the second, those who were drowned. In the third, Rabbi Johanan ben Zakkai and his disciples. In the fourth, those who were carried off in the cloud of glory. Okay, so remember, he is translating, but as he's translating, he right here is talking about, he's giving like examples from his personal experience of people he know who would reside in these compartments, in these places, in these particular places in paradise. That's my understanding. Okay, let me start it again. Beyond paradise begins Eden, containing 310 worlds and 7 compartments for 7 different classes of the pious. In the first are the martyr victims of the government, like Rabbi Akiba and his colleagues. In the second, those who were drowned. In the third, Rabbi Johanan ben Zakkai and his disciples. In the fourth, those who were carried off in the cloud of glory. Now, we know people who were carried off in the cloud of glory, Enoch and Elijah, right? So far. In the fifth, the penitents who occupy a place which even a perfectly pious man cannot obtain. In the sixth are the youths who have not tasted sin in their lives. In the seventh are those poor who studied Bible and Mishnah and led a life of self-respecting decency. And Yahuwah sits in the midst of them and expounds the Torah to them. As for the 7 divisions of paradise, each of them is 12 myriads of miles in width and 12 myriads of mile in length. In the first division dwell the proselytes who embraced Judaism. Well, it's not really Judaism, it's who embrace the ways of Yah, right? Remember, he's using some of the words that he's familiar with. Who embrace Yahuwah's laws of their own free will, not from compulsion. The walls are of glass and the wainscoting of cedar. The prophet Obadiah, himself a proselyte, is the overseer of this first division. The second division is built of silver, and the wainscoting thereof is cedar. Here dwell those who have repented, and Manasseh, the penitent son of Hezekiah, presides over them. The third division is built of silver and gold. Here dwell Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the Israelites who came out of Egypt, and the whole generation that lived in the desert. Also, David is there, together with his sons, with all his sons except Absalom. One of them, Chileab, still alive. And all the kings of Judah are there, with the exception of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, who presides in the second division over the penitents, which it just told us up here. Moses and Aaron preside over the third division. Here are precious vessels of silver and gold and jewels and canopies and beds and thrones of lamps of gold, of precious stones and of pearls. The best of everything there is in heaven. The fourth division is built of beautiful rubies, and its wainscoting is of olive wood. Here dwell the perfect and the steadfast in faith, and their wainscoting is of olive wood, because their lives were bitter as olives to them. The fifth division is built of silver and gold and of refined gold, and the finest of gold and glass and bdellium. And in the midst of it flows the river Gihon. The wainscoting is of silver and gold, and a perfume breathes through it more exquisite than the perfume of Lebanon. The coverings of silver and gold beds are made of purple and blue, woven by Eve, and of scarlet and the hair of goats, woven by angels. Here dwells the Messiah on a palanquin made of the wood of Lebanon, the pillars thereof silver, the bottom of gold, the seat of it purple. With him is Elijah. He takes the head of the Messiah and places it in his bosom and says to him, be quiet, for the end draweth nigh. And this is one of the parts, I'm not even going to say that I understand this part right here, but I'm like, Father, okay, you need to help me with this part. Okay, I'm going to just keep reading, y'all. He takes the head of Messiah and places it in his bosom and says to him, be quiet, for the end draweth nigh. On every Monday and Thursday and on Sabbaths and holidays, the patriarchs come to him and the 12 sons of Jacob, and Moses, Aaron, David, Solomon, and all the kings of Israel and of Judah, and they weep with him and comfort him, saying unto him, be quiet and trust thy Creator, for the end draweth nigh. Also Korah and his company, Dathan, Abiram, and Absalom come to him every Wednesday and ask him, how long before the end comes full of wonders? When wilt thou bring us life again, and from the abysses of the earth lift us? The Messiah answers them and says, go to your fathers and ask them. And when they hear this, they are ashamed and do not ask their fathers. Okay, so if you guys read ahead, you would know when they come out of Egypt, when we get into Exodus, you remember Dathan and all the, do not open that. Dathan and them, when they're out in the wilderness, they pretty much get into it with Moses, and it's like, well, you hear God, we hear God too, and then the ground opened up and swallowed them. Back here, actually, and when we get to that part, we're going to read that on what actually happened and how the ground opened up and swallowed them, right? It's so good. Matter of fact, I don't know if you want to listen to it today. I'll put the link because it's recorded just that section alone. Somebody recorded just that section, and it's a really clear reading. I'll post that, so if you want to listen to it, you can kind of jump ahead and go listen to that. Okay. Hey, Bella, chill. Go to your fathers and ask them, and when they hear this, they are ashamed and do not ask their fathers. In the 6th division dwell those who died in performing a pious act, and in the 7th division those who died from illness inflicted as an expiation for the sins of Israel. And that was it. You know what, y'all? We'll wait, because we already an hour. I was gonna go ahead and read about the 4th day, where it talks about the hey, out the kitchen, go. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and read it because it's probably gonna take me like 5 minutes. Okay, the 4th day where the sun and the moon was created. I think it really goes with this. So let's go ahead and read it. It's gonna take me like a couple minutes. Okay, the 4th day. The 4th day of creation produced the sun, the moon, and the stars. These heavenly spheres were not actually fashioned on this day. They were created on the 1st day and merely were assigned their places in the heavens on the 4th. At first, the sun and moon enjoyed equal powers and prerogatives. The moon spoke to Yahuwah and said, O Yahuwah, why didst thou create the world with the letter Bet? Yahuwah replied, that it might be known unto my creation that there are 2 worlds. The moon, O Yahuwah, which of the 2 worlds is larger, this world or the world to come? Yahuwah, the world to come is larger. The moon, O Yahuwah, thou didst create 2 worlds, a greater and a lesser world. Thou didst create the heaven and the earth, the heaven exceeding the earth. Thou didst create fire and water, and the water stronger than the fire, because it can quench the fire. And now thou hast created the sun and the moon, and it is becoming that one of them should be greater than the other. Then Yahuwah spake to the moon, I know well that thou wouldst have make me thee greater than the sun. As a punishment, I decree that thou mayest keepest but 1/60 of thy life. The moon supplicated, shall I be punished so severely? for having spoken a single word? Yahuwah relented. In the future world, I will restore thy light, so that thy light may again be as the light of the sun. The moon was not yet satisfied. O Yahuwah, she said, and the light of the sun, how great will it be in that day? Then the wrath of Yahuwah was once more kindled. What thou still plottest against the sun? Okay, so this conversation, the moon was noticing that there are elements that were created, but there were things that were greater than that. Like fire was created, although fire is raging, the water was also created, which can quench the fire. So the moon is building up this conversation, these examples to give to y'all. And now he's like, okay, so you made the sun and you made the moon. Which of us is greater? Thinking that Yahuwah would say, you, the moon, is greater than the sun. But Yahuwah, he heard it in the examples that was given, that that's where the moon was going, which is why she no longer is as bright as the sun. And she gains her light from the sun during the course of the month, and she dies and grows again every month, right? Okay, listen. As a punishment, I decree that thou mayest keep but 1/60th of thy light. The moon made supplication. Shall I be punished so severely for having spoken a single word? Yahuwah relented. In the future world, I will restore thy light, so that thy light may again be as the light of the sun. The moon was not yet satisfied. O Yahuwah, she said, and the light of the sun, how great will it be in that day? Then the wrath of Yahuwah was once more kindled. What thou still plottest against the sun, as thou livest in the world to come, his light shall be sevenfold the light he now sheds. The sun runs his course like a bridegroom. He sits upon a throne with a garland on his head. 96 angels accompany him on his daily journey in relays of 8 every hour. 2 to the left of him, 2 to the right, 2 before him, and 2 behind. Bella, chill. Strong as he is, he could complete his course from south to north in a single instant, but 365 angels restrain him by means of as many grappling irons. Every day, one loses his hold. The sun must thus spend 365 days on his course. The progress of the sun in his circuit is an uninterrupted song of praise to Yahuwah. Listen to this, y'all.
Stop.
Guys, listen. Isaiah, stop.
It's not yours.
No. Okay, take that and go in there. Bella, stop. Hold that until I'm done. Hold on. The progress of the sun in his circuit is an uninterrupted song of praise to Yahuwah, and this song alone makes his motion possible. Therefore, when Joshua wanted to bid the sun stand still, he had to command him to be silent. His song of praise hushed, and the sun stood still. The sun is double-faced. One face of fire is directed toward the earth, and one of hell toward heaven, to cool off the prodigious heat that streams from the other face, else the earth would catch fire. In the winter, the sun turns his fiery face upward, and thus the cold is produced. When the sun descends in the west in the evening, he dips down into the ocean and takes a bath. His fire is extinguished, and therefore he dispenses neither light nor warmth during the night. Okay, now, for those of you who I may have just lost there, think about this. It doesn't actually, it dip into an ocean. And hear what I'm saying. If we watch the sun as it's beginning to set, as it's making its course from the east to the west, in the evening, when we watch the sun going down over the horizon, and if you're out there, if you're on water, it looks like it's going down, and as it's going down, the light is going out. And that's how he's explaining it, right? Okay. But as soon as when the sun descends in the west in the evening, he dips down into the ocean and takes a bath. His fire is extinguished, and therefore he dispenses neither light nor warmth during the night. But as soon as he reaches the east in the morning, he laves himself in a stream of flame, which imparts warmth and light to him. And these he sheds over the earth. In the same way, the moon and the stars take a bath in a stream of hell before they enter upon their service for the night. Hey. When the sun and the moon are ready to start upon their round of duty, they appear before Yahuwah and beseech him to relieve them of their task, so that they may be spared the sight of sinning mankind. Bella, chill. Only upon compulsion they proceed with their daily course. Coming from the presence of Yahuwah, they are blinded by the radiance in the heavens, and they cannot find their way. Yahuwah therefore shoots off arrows by the glittering light of which they are guided. It is on the account of the sinfulness of man, which the sun is forced to contemplate on his rounds, that he grows weaker as the time of his going down approaches. For sins have a defiling and a feebling effect, and he drops from the horizon as a sphere of blood, for blood is the sign of corruption. And listen, when the sun goes down, it seems like it gets red. Think about that's what he's describing here, y'all. As the sun sets forth on his course in the morning, his wing touched the leaves of the trees of paradise, and their vibration is communicated to the angels and the holy Hayat, to the other plants, and also the trees and plants on the earth, and to all the beings on earth and in heaven. It is the signal for them to cast their eyes upward as soon as they see the ineffable name which is engraved in the sun. They raise their voices in songs of praise to Yahuwah. Okay, y'all. Maybe I should have just ended it. They getting loud phone calls coming through. I'm a listen next. Okay. At the same moment, a heavenly voice is heard. Woe to the sons of men that consider not the honor of Yahuwah, like unto these creatures whose voices now rise aloft in adoration. These words, I'm sorry, y'all. These words naturally are not heard by men, as little as they perceive the gratings of the sun against the will to which all celestial bodies are attached. Although the noise it makes is extraordinarily loud. This friction of the sun and the wheel produces the motes dancing about in the sunbeams. They are the carriers of healing to the sick, the only health-giving creations of the fourth day. On the whole, an unfortunate day, especially for children, afflicting them with disease, when Yahuwah punished the envious moon by diminishing her light and splendor, so that she ceased to be equal of the sun as she had been originally. She fell, and tiny threads were loosed from her body. These are the stars. I know. Wow, right? That's how the stars were produced. Okay, y'all. So we're going to end it in the days to come. When it's time to end, we end. I ain't going to try and add an extra chapter in there because clearly things get to jumping around here and it's I'm past my time. So forgive me. Father, forgive me. I should have ended it there right at the hour mark when we were done. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the blessing for today. Nope, which is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, and speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, may Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. They shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. I love y'all, and I will see y'all bright and early in the morning. Peace.
Bye. Mom. And I'm making them.